Thanos and Cyclops are making their way back into Marvel, just as the MCU struggles with yet another box office stumble. Zendaya is rumored to return in Spider-Man with a storyline tied to Aunt May's death, and despite disappointing numbers, Fantastic Four is still set to receive a sequel. Kevin Feige is clearly trying to distract from Marvel's recent underperformances with big announcements, and today we're breaking them all down. Let's start with Josh Brolin. The actor once again confirmed that he'd gladly return as Thanos. According to him, he's still in touch with the Russo brothers almost daily, and if they called, he'd be on set the very next morning. Of course, Marvel hasn't reached out yet and probably won't anytime soon. In the comics, Thanos' next big role would be in Secret Wars, where he dies at the hands of Dr. Doom to show Doom's terrifying power. For Doomsday, however, it feels too early. That spot would more likely go to Galactus, or perhaps even the Watcher.
Still, Brolin admitted he preferred playing Thanos over Cable, not because of power levels, but because playing Cable in Deadpool 2 felt creatively limited by the comedic tone, while as Thanos, he felt free to really act, which likely means we won't see him as Cable again, but his Mad Titan could still return. Meanwhile, James Marsden finally broke his silence about returning as Cyclops. He joked that if Marvel had waited just a couple more years, he might not have fit into the suit anymore. But he's glad to finally close the chapter after 20 years of fan speculation. Marsden himself doesn't see this as a long-term return, more like Cyclops' final arc. Kevin Feige, however, hinted otherwise, suggesting that the veteran mutants will play a bigger role in upcoming crossovers, not just quick cameos.
As for Spider-Man, Zendaya's rumored return caused some controversy. Photos surfaced of her on set with Tom Holland at Aunt May's grave, leading fans to worry that Marvel is undermining her death from No Way Home. Witnesses, however, reported that Zendaya was only visiting set as Holland's wife, not filming. Still, the set photos themselves sparked discussion. Peter beaten and bloodied, Aunt May's tombstone confirming her age as 60, preserved surprisingly well. If you count the 5-year blip, the math actually adds up. The Russos' time jump left the MCU's timeline messy, making Peter biologically younger than his official age. Hopefully, Secret Wars will reset the broken timeline once and for all. Another major headline: Ana de Armas is reportedly in talks with Marvel for a significant role. Fans immediately speculated she could be Rogue, and she'd be a perfect fit. The only question is her age. By the time X-Men releases, she'll be in her 40s, while Marvel's rumored strategy is to cast a younger group of mutants. Whether she ends up as Rogue or another character, she's a strong addition. And then there's Fantastic Four. Despite headlines about it crossing $400 million, industry insiders know that's far from a success. For comparison, Ant-Man 3 hit the same number, and that was considered a flop. Further, Thor Ragnarok made over $600 million by its third week. Even worse, Fantastic Four dropped over 60% in its second weekend, falling much faster than DC's Superman, which debuted at $125 million and held far stronger. By final box office numbers, Fantastic Four may limp to $500 million worldwide, a disaster by Marvel standards. For the first time in 17 years, a DC movie could outgross Marvel as the biggest superhero film of the year. The last time this happened was with The Dark Knight in 2008. Kevin Feige knows this looks bad, which is why leaks and rumors suddenly spill from Marvel sets at exactly the right time. It's a strategy to pump positive hype. Without it, all the headlines would be about failure. The truth is simple. Audiences still show up for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, for Deadpool and Wolverine, and for DC's Superman. What they're skipping are Kevin Feige's core MCU films. The reason? A broken reputation. When it's James Gunn or Fox characters, people buy tickets. But when it's a classic MCU film, audiences no longer trust the brand. That's why Doomsday with Robert Downey Jr. is seen as Marvel's last real shot at redemption. Big crossovers will still sell, but the question is, will they bring fans back long-term? Secret Wars might serve as one last endgame for the legacy heroes, but what happens after? Feige already failed that test once in 2020.
Will he pass in 2028? Despite weak box office, Variety confirms that Fantastic Four 2 is moving forward. Marvel believes that featuring the team in Doomsday and Secret Wars will build enough goodwill to make a sequel profitable. Director Matt Shankman is expected to return, though the sequel will likely shift to a new modern universe rather than retro-futurism. Other updates: Sony officially announced a Spider-Verse spin-off centered on Spider-Punk, with Daniel Kaluuya returning to voice the character. Unlike the shorts and series, this will be a theatrical release, following the Across the Spider-Verse trilogy. Sony seems committed to continuing the franchise with spin-offs for Spider-Gwen and more. And Thor. Despite rumors of Chris Hemsworth's exit, the actor clarified he isn't done. The farewell video that circulated was actually misinterpreted. It was meant to celebrate a new chapter, not the end. Hemsworth said he's open to Thor 5 as long as it fits around his other projects. So Thor may survive Marvel's soft reboot after Secret Wars. Finally, Matt Shackman revealed that Marvel cut nearly 30 minutes of finished material from Fantastic Four, including a full battle sequence against a team of super apes led by John Malkovich. He admitted he would have delivered a slightly different cut if it were up to him. We've reached the point where fans are now asking for Marvel director's cuts, once something that only happened to DC. So, the big question remains: in the post-Secret Wars era, will Marvel's reboot strategy work, or will James Gunn's slower, steadier approach at DC win out? Share your thoughts in the comments. For now, that's all. See you in the next video.